What is up, all my fantasy DGens? Chris, the Dice DGen here, the DGen on this channel. Dice DGen is my craps YouTube channel. So if you're interested in craps, go check out Dice DGen. It's in the live chat below. All right, welcome to week 10 of the NFL season. All right, DFS for week 10. You guys know the deal by now. We're going to go over the recap from last week, injuries that I'm keeping an eye on, matchups, overall analysis, and some of my picks for the week. All right, so if you guys have questions, all right, Discord, it's linked down below. Go check out the Discord. All right, there is a channel in Discord, DFS Domination. Post your questions in there. You guys can DM me on Discord. Again, it's Dice DGen, in parentheses, Chris. If you guys want to choose Instagram, Daily Fantasy Domination on Instagram. And if you want to email me or whatever, dicedgen@gmail.com. All right, you guys can ask me all your fantasy questions in there. You can put them in the chat room for everyone to see. If you don't want everyone to see it, again, DM me or shoot me an email, DM me on Instagram, things like that. All right, so let's talk about week 9. Week 9, we're already on week 10. NFL season is more than halfway over at this point. All right, so how do we do in week 9, guys? How did your team you root for do? All right, if you guys remember, I was wearing my Eagles jersey because my Eagles were playing Thursday night right after the live show last week, and my Eagles did good. Started out slow, but, picked it up nicely. But how's your teams doing? All right, let me know who your teams are in the chat. Let me know who you guys like. All right, but let's talk about daily fantasy, right? How do we do in daily fantasy last week? So let's talk about the QB position. This was the picks I sent out on Sunday morning in the Discord. I put them on Twitter. I put them on Instagram. All right, these guys were all given during the live show last Thursday, but I also put them out in this type of format in the Discord chat and on Instagram and Twitter. All right, so Josh Allen was one of my favorite picks of the week. Finished third overall in terms of quarterbacks. He put up 26.8 points. Not too shabby right there. I also like Justin Fields, who I gave. He was my sixth favorite down the list, but he put up crazy numbers, 42.72 points. Finished overall first. So good job for Justin Fields. Looks like he's coming around, holding his own in the league. So we'll see what happens there. In terms of Herbert, he finished 18th overall. Tua finished 4th overall in terms of QBs. Kirk was 11th, and Aaron Rodgers finished 13th. Green Bay Packers is the dud. Don't bet on them. Don't take any of their players. They suck. All right, that's all I have to say about that. Aaron Rodgers needs to go back to his ayahuasca fields and just sit there and not worry about football anymore. Running backs. Joe Mixon had a week. He had a week. If you played against him in fantasy, I am sorry. Believe it or not, I actually played against him in one of my leagues, and I ended up winning. But the other guy's team wasn't very good. But Mixon, man, 51 points. He went off. All right, so he was number 1 overall for the week. Gave him to you as well. Eckler finished 7th. Etienne, I loved Etienne last week. He was in every single one of my DFS lineups. He finished 3rd. Aaron Jones, again, the Packers suck. Forget the Packers. Terrible team. We're not going to worry about them. He finished 29th. Stevenson finished 12th. And Khalil Herbert did not get involved in the offense at all. He had a rough week. It's tough when you're split in the backfield. Also, when you have Justin Fields running the ball instead of your running back, takes away from your running back performance. So, is what it is. Wide receivers, tough week on wide receivers. All right, tough week. Justin Jefferson was my favorite wide receiver on the slate. He finished 4th. Expect that from him. Expect that from a high price tag guy to do well for the week. But the rest of the guys, Higgins finished 26th. Palmer had a decent week. He was pretty cheap. Finished 13th, so he was a good value play there. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't have a great week, 28th overall. DJ Moore, coming off that banger of a week in week 8, he kind of didn't do anything. But the Panthers didn't do much either. So 47th for him. And then Mooney, who was another one of my value guys, he finished 14th. So if you did, what I said with taking the higher priced running backs, like the Etiennes, the Ecklers, the Mixons, and you paid down for the Palmers and the Moonies, you had a great week, all right? That was a lineup that I had in one of my DFS lineups was Etienne and Mixon, and I had Palmer and Mooney together. You guys know me. Tight end, I ship to the end. Defense, don't really care. So we had those guys. In terms of the tight end position, though, Evan Ingram finished 38th. He did not have a good week. Ertz 6th. Disley 24th. Higbee was non-existent on the field. I'm not even sure if he was on the field, to be honest. I know he was, but he wasn't being looked at all. And then Tanyan, again, we're not going to talk about the Packers because they are on my list of do not play anybody on their team because they suck. All right. And I know some of you guys are Packers fans. I'm sorry that you have to watch that team play. So injuries I'm watching this week, guys. Injuries I'm watching. Josh Allen and that elbow. All right. What is going on with Josh Allen? We don't know officially at the current moment. I'm going to keep you guys up to date there because he would be one of my top picks on the quarterback slate this week. You guys know I love Josh Allen. I love Jalen Hurts. I always look to take those two guys because they're kind of at a tier of their own. Patty Mahomes does fit into that tier on a week-by-week basis, just cranking out points. So I'll pay up for them. But we don't know what's going on with that elbow. Case Keenum's the backup. If you want to buy down a lot, you could go Case Keenum potentially, but I don't know if I trust that at all. So we'll keep an eye on Josh Allen. Matt Stafford, we're going to keep a close eye on Matt Stafford because his backup quarterbacks are atrocious. I actually had to look up who his backup quarterbacks were, and they got John Wolford. So we'll see what happens there, but the reason I have that is not because I like Matt Stafford this week. It's more of the Cooper Kupp with that high price tag, right? We have a who knows coming in to play quarterback. If Stafford can't play with that concussion, it's going to be very hard for him to clear concussion protocol before the game. All right, so keep an eye on that because if Stafford's not playing and they have Wolford in quarterback, I'd be very hesitant to pay that price tag for Cooper Kupp. So keep an eye on that. Jonathan Taylor, watching the ankle, right? Jonathan Taylor's been a bust all season long. I have him in a couple fantasy leagues. I've taken him in DFS. Hasn't performed, but Deion Jackson could potentially be a low price tag guy to grab if Taylor's not there. Again, I don't love the Colts running situation, but if you're trying to save salary, it could be an option there. Zeke, we're watching that knee injury. All right, it's been bugging him for a little bit. We'll see. I love Tony Pollard as our running back when Zeke's not there. If Zeke is there, Pollard's target share goes down. His snap count goes down, so I don't love it if Zeke is in. But if Zeke isn't there, I like Pollard a lot this week. Again, I'll talk about him in my running back analysis, but if you want me to be honest with you, now I don't want them to do this because I am an Eagles fan, but Tony Pollard's looking a lot better than Zeke at this point, so give Pollard the ball, all right? Jerry Jones, you should probably listen to the D-Gen, all right? He'll help you out. Darren Waller to the IR. That is some big news that came out today. All right, that means he's out for at least 4 weeks, which means Foster Moreau will be the tight end there. So potentially look for him for value. And then David Njoku, we're looking at his injuries. If he's back, I like him a lot this week. The model loves him this week. If he's back, though, big if on if he's back. So we're going to keep an close eye on that injury for Njoku. And some matchups, all right? Matchups. Tonight, we have the Falcons and the Panthers going off in about an hour. If you're betting on this game, you're doing any DFS on this game, be very careful, all right? They're calling for rain in Charlotte. There's high winds possibilities. So keep an eye on that, all right? These two teams, it's pretty garbage primetime game, but, you know, somebody's got to be on primetime. So if you are taking that game in terms of bets or DFS, pay attention to the weather, all right? Rain and potential for sustained winds of like 15 miles an hour. I was looking at it, and potential gusts higher than that. So keep an eye on that. Sunday morning, we have a game in, I think it's Germany, I believe, the Seahawks and the Bucks. All right, so branching out to Europe over there. Those guys aren't on our main slate. Not too worried about them. The most chunk of these teams will be on our main slate, with the exception of the Chargers, 49ers, and then the Commanders and the Eagles. They play Monday night. So really going to hone in on the middle of that picture there for our main DFS slate. And you guys are going to see there's going to be some common themes. We're targeting certain defenses as we do every week. All right, defensive ratings real quick. They're up on the screen on the left from my model. Points by position. All right, how many points defense gives up on average to each position. Obviously, red is not a lot. Green is a lot of points they give up. So we look to target the defenses against the position in green. All right. And then just defensive overall rankings on the right-hand side there. All right. So the players I like. All right. Let's flip screens here and we'll go over the guys I like this week. All right. We'll start off with the QB position. Josh Allen. Again, Depending on that injury, I do like him, but again, that injury could be costly. We may not like it, so hesitant on Josh Allen. My favorite quarterback of the week, though, is Patty Mahomes. All right, I love Patty Mahomes this week, especially against Jacksonville. They have the 16th overall defense, and they're 21st in the league in points allowed to the quarterback. So bottom third in points allowed, and you guys saw the rush was not working for Kansas City. They are a pass offense, and they're going to continue to pass. So I like Patty Mahomes a lot this week. Expect him to put up a lot of points. Justin Fields, again, coming off a good week last week. Hesitant a little bit on him. He's priced up higher this week, but rightfully so. All right, they're playing against the Lions. The Lions are 31st overall in the league in defense, and they give up the second most points to the quarterback. So Justin Fields should have a good week. They also have a bad run defense, so look for Justin Fields to run the ball a lot this week. So Justin Fields is probably my second pick for the week. Again, I will put out my rankings on Sunday morning. The model loves Patty Mahomes and Justin Fields, though. Patty Mahomes is given a 3.96 rating. It's very high. One is like an average rating, so when you're going up to the 3, almost 4 level, that's pretty high. So the model loves Patty Mahomes, and also Justin Fields has a 3.2 rating with the model. So good options there. Tua, he's been having good weeks recently against the Browns, right? The model has him at like a 2.8 rating, which is pretty good, higher than average, obviously. Browns defense isn't very good, 18th overall, 10th in points to quarterback. If I were you, and I'm playing on FanDuel, I'd look to pay up the 200 for Fields or the 400 for Mahomes. If you're on DraftKings, I would pay down and take Fields at that point. So again, depending on the platform you play on, take a look at that. Who else? Kyler Murray. I don't love him this week. I'll be honest with you. He's got the hamstring going on a little bit. The Rams defense is pretty good, especially against quarterbacks and stuff, so I don't love him. We'll go down to Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton should be starting that week for New Orleans. I can't get behind some of these guys. I'll be honest with you. I don't love them. But Pittsburgh's defense is terrible. That's why I like them. All right, Pittsburgh's defense, 30th overall and 29th against the quarterback. So I like Andy Dalton this week against Pittsburgh. And I think that'll round out our running backs or our quarterbacks. We don't have too many other guys. Again, I'm really looking at the top tier this week of Patty Mahomes, Justin Fields. And then if I'm paying down, I'm going to go take like an Andy Dalton or something like that to get me some salary relief. The guys in the middle there, I don't love them. Jacoby Brissett, you could make an argument for, but I don't like it a whole lot. I'd rather pay down a little bit, get a couple extra $100 to buy up at a different position. So I would look for that Patty Mahomes, Justin Fields, and then if not, I'm going down to like an Andy Dalton type for the quarterback position. Running backs. All right, running backs this week. You see a lot of colors on the screen. It's pretty colorful. Why? Because we're waiting on some injury news. All right, we're looking for specific injury news there to see who we really, really like this week. Overall, though, one of my favorites this week is Etienne. He's been one of my favorites the past couple weeks. Playing against Kansas City. Kansas City does not have a good defense. They're 27th in the league overall. They give up the 25th in points allowed to to the running back. So Etienne's a great pick this week. He will be in a lot of my lineups yet again. He wasn't last week. He's going to be in there again this week. I like Tony Pollard a lot this week if Zeke is out. All right, that's why Zeke is in yellow. If he's out, we love Pollard. The Green Bay defense is 20th in points allowed to running backs, so they give up a lot of points. Again, with the Jonathan Taylor situation, Vegas is terrible against the run. They have a bad defense overall, so if Jonathan Taylor's in there, he's priced relatively low, so you might want to go grab him. If he's in there, if not, Deion Jackson becomes a viable option. He's priced down pretty cheap. Where is he at? Deion Jackson somewhere on here. So, again, keep an eye on that. We'll look for the injuries there. Dameon Pierce in Houston up against the Giants. All right, Giants have the 13th overall defense, 8th against running back. So it's not a great matchup for him, but he's the number one back in that Houston backfield. So I do like him quite a bit. My other favorite, though, for this week, all right, Alvin Kamara. I love Alvin Kamara this week against Pittsburgh. 30th overall defense, 18th in points allowed to running back. I think the Saints might get up quick, and then they're going to look to burn some clock. So I like Kamara. Barkley, he's high priced, but for good reason. All right, Houston is the worst against the run in the league. So expect Barkley to be in a lot of lineups this week. You're just going to have to pay for him, so you're going to have to figure out salary-wise where do you want to go. The situation in Detroit's very interesting. All right, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. We're waiting to see, I guess, with that DeAndre Swift injury, what happens there. But against Chicago, they're 28th in the league against the run, so I like exploiting that matchup a lot there. The model likes that a lot. The model likes every player, basically, that I've said so far. Swift and Williams, though, have good ratings in the model this week, so take a look at those guys. Again, watch the injury reports. And then another guy that I do want to make comment about is Jeff Wilson Jr., all right? So I've been on Raheem Mostert trail for a little bit, but it looks like Jeff Wilson Jr. is taking over that backfield a little bit. He had more snaps last week. He looks to be doing more with the snaps when he's on the field, so he has a positive outlook for that backfield. So I'd look to maybe take him. He's a bit of a salary saver this week as well, so could exploit that. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, they're going to be splitting up the backfield. The thing is, though, Justin Fields looks to run first before he's handing the ball off. So if you want that rush attack from Chicago this week, I would take it from the quarterback position instead. All right, that's just my personal preference. And then if you want to pay down a little bit, Devin Singletary, especially if Josh Allen is out, Case Keenum's going to look to establish that run pretty quickly. So Devin Singletary could be a good option there for you if Keenum is the quarterback, in fact, this week. But again, we'll take a look at that. And again, guys, I will put my picks out on Sunday morning once we have the final injury reports and things like that. Wide receiver position, all right? I told you Cooper Kupp, be careful with that quarterback, all right? Be careful with the quarterback, Cooper Kupp. He's the most expensive player on FanDuel this week. Not on DraftKings, but he's expensive on FanDuel, so be careful with Cooper Kupp and that quarterback situation. Tyreek Hill, balling out this season. I think he leads the league in receiving yards and stuff. Always a good option. Just a ball hog out there. He gets a lot of yards after catch. We like him a lot. DeAndre Hopkins, also another good pick this week. The Rams defense is not very good against the wide receiver position, so DeAndre Hopkins is a good pick. One of my favorites this week, though, is Amari Cooper against Miami. All right. Miami likes to just run and gun, right? So that means that the other team, they're either scoring, they're not scoring, which gives the opposite team a chance to score. Amari Cooper playing against Miami. They're 26th overall defense, 23rd against their wide receivers. So I like Amari Cooper a lot this week. Another guy I like a lot this week is Chris Olave for good reason. All right. Pittsburgh's defense, I already told you they're bad. They're 30th in the league. They're the worst against wide receivers. All right. You guys saw what the Eagles did to them 2 weeks ago. They just tore him up. A.J. Brown went for like 36 points. I was at that game, so that's why I know that kind of stuff. But Pittsburgh's defense against wide receivers is terrible, so I like Olave quite a bit this week. I also like Juju Smith-Schuster a lot against that Jacksonville defense. They're 25th in points allowed to wide receivers, so good matchup there. I also like the Chicago wide receivers, all right? So Claypool, Mooney, depending on what you have lineup-wise. Detroit, again, terrible defense, right? One of the worst in the league overall. They're 29th in points allowed to wide receivers, so good picks there. We're really looking to exploit that Detroit defense, right? I do it pretty much every week, and it pays off. So we're going to continue doing it with the Chicago team there. Amon-Ra St. Brown's another good pick this week. I do like him. And then I also do like the Jacksonville wide receivers with Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, tongue twister. They have good value on the model this week, rightfully so. Kansas City will probably be up pretty quickly, which means that Jacksonville's going to have to come from behind, which means they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to look for those explosive runs with Etienne, and they're going to look to balance that out. So Kirk and Zay Jones, I like those guys this week. And then I said I like Juju. I also like Kadarius Toney for Kansas City. I think Patty Mahomes is going to look to get him in there, so keep an eye on him. After Zay Jones, though, I don't know. I really wouldn't go down to any of these other guys down here. Pretty tough to really wrap my head around actually picking some of these guys. But you guys can totally build a good lineup with some of these cheaper guys and then sprinkle in some of these mid to higher tier wide receivers. You can definitely build a strong receiver core in your league this week. Tight end position, all right. Bright Green, Greg Dulcich, my favorite quarterback this week, or tight end this week. He's going to have a great week, I believe, against that Tennessee defense. Tennessee, 23rd overall, 22nd in points allowed to tight end. The model absolutely loves him. Highest graded tight end this week is Dulcich. So he's my favorite pick this week, and he will be in a lot of my lineups. We also like Njoku a lot. Again, we got to pay attention to that injury, though. But if the injury for Dulcich or for Njoku is good and he's good to go, I like him a lot this week as well. I would take Dulcich over Njoku this week, but if you like the Browns and you want to stack a Browns player or something, Njoku could be a good idea. Kelsey, again, I like Kelsey. It's just the price tag. I can't wrap my head around paying 8.5K on FanDuel or 7.8 on DraftKings. Again, he's probably going to have a good week. Patty Mahomes is going to be throwing the ball a lot, but I just can't wrap my head around paying that much for that guy. So weigh that out. Zach Ertz is another one. Tough matchup, but he's been having good weeks, so that's why he's up there. But tough matchup this week with the Rams. The Rams are 9th overall in defense, 5th in points to the tight end, so they're high, or they allow low points to the tight end, so be careful with that pick. But one guy that I do want to go down to is Juwan Johnson. He is balling out for New Orleans, all right? He's cheap every single week. His stat lines have been very good for how cheap he's been. I've given him a couple times. I'm going to give him again. I like him, especially for that salary relief. If you want to get that relief, take him, and then you can stack up some good wide receivers with the higher price tag or running backs with the higher price tag. So pay attention to that. And then you guys know me with the defense. I just pick somebody and chuck them in the lineup. I usually pay down for defense. I don't care too much about defense position, but some teams that I like this week are the Colts. I don't like their defense usually, but good matchup this week. Cardinals, again, another good matchup this week. And then the Steelers have a decent matchup against the Bears this week. All right. Against New Orleans this week. So those are the defenses I like. Colts, Cardinals, Steelers. Again, you guys know me. I plug a defense in at the very end, and we get to where we go. All right, so some lineups. All right, just some mock lineups that I've built. Aren't final lineups yet. Again, we're waiting for injury news come Sunday to see who's in, who's out. But if you want to go for the Patty Mahomes, right, you can grab like an Etienne and a Jeff Wilson Jr. We go for my two favorite wide receivers on the slate, which are Olave and Cooper. We add Kirk in there, who's good value. We go Dulcich, and this is something I rarely ever do, but stacking tight ends in a league. This week could be good if you're trying to go grab some of those higher price tag guys. You could stack a Dulcich and a Njoku together. I'm not a huge fan of stacking tight ends typically, but this week it might be a week to do that. And then we plug in the Cardinals defense. Another one, if you want to pay down at quarterback, you go Andy Dalton, and you stack them with Kamara in that backfield. And then you grab a Devin Singletary for the value, but then we're really stacking up on the wide receiver. We're going Tyreek Hill, we're going Juju. We're taking Pickens. All right, Kenny Pickett's going to have to throw to somebody. I like Pickens a lot, especially with Claypool out of there. Again, we're adding Dulcich in there, and we like Mooney again this week, and we're taking the Colts defense. So different options on how you want to pay. This is probably one of my favorite lineups that I've created so far, though. Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, Etienne Jr., throwing the Claypool in there. We have Zay Jones, Amari Cooper, Juwan Johnson, and Dameon Pierce. So on this one, right, we're paying down a bit at the wide receiver position, but we're really stacking up that running back position and then the running quarterback, right? So we have Fields, Barkley, Etienne, and Dameon Pierce are guys that are decently priced, rightfully so, but we're paying down at the wide receiver to really attack that run this week on this lineup. So again, do what you want with this information. I will give you my final picks on Sunday on all the platforms. On FanDuel, similar situation. All right, we're taking a Mahomes with Etienne, Pollard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kirk, Claypool, Dulcich, Olave. Again, right, we're paying down a bit at the running back position, but we're really getting a good quarterback and we're getting good receivers. All right, St. Brown, Kirk, Claypool, Olave. Love that lineup this week. Also, if you want to pay down a bit at quarterback, take a Jacoby Brissett, right? Stack him with Amari Cooper, who's in there, and then we can get Saquon Barkley. We have Herbert, but we're still going Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're going Christian Kirk. Foster Moreau in there because obviously Darren Waller's out, and we're getting Jonathan Taylor. So we have good running backs in there. We have some solid wide receivers, and we have an all-around pretty well-balanced lineup in there. All right, so some stacks. I know you guys like stacking players, so here's some stacks that I would potentially play with the Miami stack. Tua with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jeff Wilson Jr. All right, that's a stack for you. KC, Kansas City, going Mahomes with Kelsey. Again, I told you be careful paying for Kelsey this week, but he's going to have a good week, right? it's Jason Kelsey. So Mahomes with Kelsey and Juju. If you want to go down to Kadarius Toney, you can for sure. Arizona stack Kyler Murray with D Hop. They love each other this week. They love each other all the time. He's D Hop. He's always looking at him. So that's a good stack there. Chicago with Fields and Mooney and Claypool. You can take your pick, which one you want there. Again, salary relief. Pick which one. The New Orleans stack with Andy Dalton, Kamara, and Olave. I love Olave this week. I've said it a couple times, so we like that. And then Cleveland, you go Jacoby Brissett with Amari Cooper. Could be a good stack for you. All right. So that brings us to the end of my analysis. All right. Again, guys, on Sunday, I will post the picks in Discord on the DFS chat room. All right. Yes. Put this up here. My buddy Chiro, I know he loves Mahomes. Yes, Mahomes is balling out this week. I think he's my favorite quarterback on the slate. I said it earlier. I think he's going to have a good week this week. But again, my final picks in Discord, Instagram, and on Twitter Sunday morning. I will put them out there ranked for you, who I like, who I don't like. If you guys want, again, questions, right, in the Discord chat room, it's DFS Domination. Hop in there. It's linked down below. If you want to email me, dicedj@gmail.com, Instagram, you can DM me on there. You can comment on a post. Whatever you want to do. All right, I'm checking all that stuff pretty regularly. So daily fantasy domination, all that stuff. And again, live show November 16th. It will actually happen on Wednesday because I will be traveling next Thursday. So DFS show next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys. Good luck this week. All right. Again, if you have questions, you guys know where to find me in the chat rooms, email, Discord, DMs, whatever you want to do, whatever you prefer, hit me up on any platform and I will respond. All right, guys. I will see you guys on Sunday morning, all right, unless you guys decide to reach out to me first. But I will see you on Sunday morning for the rankings and the picks. And, guys, win this week, all right? Have good picks. Hopefully this has helped you to think about who you're starting to take this week. And wish you guys luck in your fantasy leagues. I wish you luck in the DFS fantasy. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.